It's Do Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Do Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? Yesterday was Wow Wednesday, and we got started with our girlfriend Vivian and her socially conscious segment. And what did we talk about yesterday? Well, New York Mayor Eric Adams is talking about his homelessness problem, and he claims that in more recent time we have 1,000 homeless people who have moved from homelessness to permanent housing. And we're definitely excited to hear that. There's also a statistic that says since 2022, it's been about 8,000 people who have transitioned and about 3,000 people who have moved into permanent housing. Now, unfortunately, because we have not always been given very accurate information, the ladies really are having a hard time believing him. Yes. Not that long ago, Vivian gave statistics about like $10 million, $30 million that he spent on this green initiative, like turning any kind of vacant lots and things like that into like green space. And we didn't hear about homelessness back then. So not only that, but we've been told about the MTA subway. And this time, as a matter of fact, that was included in her stats. And the MTA, they have like less crime and things like that. And before, we've only found out that it wasn't true. So we'll see it, and we have to see it. We'll see and we have to see. You know how they say, yeah? Mm-hmm. So hopefully, it's not because it's election time. So now, of course, you're coming up with all of these important issues that are being addressed and things like that. So let's hope that the homeless people have really transitioned into some permanent housing. We also talked about the after-school programs that are increasing and are free to the working parent. And working parent, non-working parent is free. And, I say that's what you pay your taxes for. I'm paying my taxes for all of this going on. And where do I see my tax dollars? So here's one area. Thank God that the children are going to be getting some after school time that is not going to cost anything. Not only that, like the lady said yesterday, it's not just going to be a babysitting experiment, but they're actually going to be focusing on sports, arts, robotics. So, they're going to be investing in our young people. So thank God that we have this ability, and it's for public school and charter schools. So, you don't have to worry about if I'm not in one or the other. And I personally know how essential after school programming is, especially if it's low cost or free. Because other than that, it may not make a difference. Woo! So we have, speaking of school, we've got the Bell to Bell band that's coming back. We talked about it back in June, May, as school was closing down. And, these cell phones. And here, I love this terminology. Any internet-enabled device, which means your phone, your watch, or a tablet, anything that's internet enabled has got to be locked up or left at home or left somewhere, but it will not be allowed in the classroom. And that's just a general rule. So let's hope that, the parents will help, because sometimes the parents are just the worst. Here's my thing. We walked around by a set of rules that said you better check in, you better be in when the lights come on. We just had rules and we abide by the rules, or if we wanted to take our chances, we didn't abide by the rule and we suffered the consequence. Now these parents are acting as though they can't function if their child does not have a phone. You'll be all right. That's why you need Jesus, because Jesus can walk with you and talk with you and do much more than a phone can. So try him. It just might work. Well, we have 16,500 New Yorkers who have taken up the free offer. Yes, we are ringing free this week, that are taking up the offer of the New York State and New York City school program, college program that will not cost you anything if you focus on high demand jobs and careers. And I mean, that's a lot of people. And like I said yesterday, thank you. Because most times when they offer something for free, nobody checks in and then they take it back. And then it's hard for us to get anything again. So this way, they see we mean business. So listen, if that's your field, then grab it. If it's not a field of interest, you may want to grab it. If you got some extra time, then grab it. It can't hurt. So listen, check it out. It'll work. Now it is age. There's an age range. And again, there are specific areas. But listen, if you're within that age range and you're in that specific area of interest, then I say jump on it. And last but not least, we've got New Jersey double murder last year, August 2024. And there was a stalker who ended up killing his ex-girlfriend, her friend, and took his own life. And now New Jersey wants to redefine what domestic violence is. So stalking has not been included in domestic violence. So therefore, people such as she, who made a complaint that, yeah, I'm being stalked, my life is in danger, they didn't consider it important enough, or they didn't put it on the books because he had not physically assaulted her. Violence, this has been violence a long time ago. Mental violence, emotional violence, financial violence. Listen, it's all violence. Why are you waiting for this technicality to come through? People are losing their lives. And you need to go back to yesterday's episode where I read the hard statistics. And these are not statistics for just 1 year. These are statistics year after year after year. And of course, year after year after year, it's getting worse. So, they're not inventing something that has not existed. They're just now waking up and paying attention to a problem that has already destroyed so many lives. And I say even the one who murdered himself, even the one who killed himself, it destroyed his life because he was allowed to live this life without any consequence. So listen, you want to listen to yesterday's episode, go back because it was phenomenal. Okay? Coach for Christian Life. If you want to go Facebook route, if you want to go YouTube, you're right here possibly. So just A Closer Walk Christian Media Network. Tell somebody. You never know. Listen to what we talked about as Socially Conscious. They may need to know about the homeless issue and how they may transition like some of the others have. They may need to know about the after school programs that's free. What about the college tuition? That's going to be 100% free. So come on, we keep you posted. So make sure you tell somebody, okay? All right. Well, today is Therapeutic Thursday. Yes, today we talk about our health in any shape, form, or fashion. Whether it's your physical health, whether it's your mental, emotional, financial, spiritual health. Health. Yeah, we talk about it. And today I've got a real interesting health tip. So let's get this party started. Go get that healthy breakfast. Go tell somebody, anybody, that it's due time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere because we will be right.
You're having an asthma attack in the 60s, and a bystander rushes towards you and calls 911. And instead of trained medics, a hearse pulls up. Before 1967, that was the reality in many cities. In the 60s, emergency medical services were unorganized, non-existent, or inconsistent. And that meant if you're black, poor, or in a crisis, you might not make it to the hospital alive. It was often just a matter of luck. In 1967, a doctor named Peter Safar teamed up with a group of black men in Pittsburgh's Hill District to do what no one else had: create paramedics. They weren't just driving people to the hospital, they were treating patients on the way using CPR, defibrillators, and advanced trauma care, just like EMTs today. The Freedom House paramedics were better trained than most doctors in emergency response. They saved many lives and defined what we understand to be our emergency medical system today. But in 1975, the city shut them down, replacing them with an all-white paramedic corps and erasing their contributions. Most were not even hired into the new EMS system. Freedom House paved the way for every ambulance, every EMT, every 911.
Good morning, and good morning again. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. And it is Therapeutic Thursday. I've never said that any other way. Mm-mm. I don't know why I sing this jingle every Thursday morning. Well, it is what it is. Did you just listen to that PSA? In the early, 70s, 60s, we had like an all black regiment of medics that was answering to the needs of the people. And they moved it, they switched it. Now, I don't have a problem with them switching it. Let whoever gonna do the job, do the job. But when you try to wipe out that existence, that's something else. And why is it that that's always what it is? It's like, wipe it out, it's all or nothing. So, I know a young man who just joined, the FDNY as an EMT. And I'm just glad to see that, we can do the thing. Listen, whoever is interested in these fields, then have at it. If you have a love for your community, love for God's people, where you want to serve, let me tell you something, that is a job. That is a job. At one point, they were talking about having them accompanied with police escorts because they were killing and hurting these people who were showing up to help us. So why would you care who's actually doing this? So shout out to the original regimen. Shout out to those who are out there doing the thing. Because you know what? I've had to call them a few times. So giving God thanks that there are people who love, others enough to put themselves on the side. I'm like, y'all got to carry heavy people. You got to deal with dangerous situations, your health, your life. I think we just focused on the wrong thing. What about you? Well, it's check-in time on Therapeutic Thursday. I don't know you're in the room. I can see people are in the room, but let me know that you're in the room. And the only way I know is to give me a shout out. We got our first check-in from our girl, Ketty. Hey, Ketty girl. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us. What about Serge? Hey, Serge, what's going on out there? Thank you for joining us. Oh, we got our girl, Miss Charlene, in the house. Hey, Miss Charlene. I'm so happy to see you on. Whenever I see you on, I get excited. We've got our Crystal. Did I say that right? Yeah. Crystal 1. I was reading that all wrong the last time you were on here. I was saying Crystal 1 or Christ 1. That's what I was saying. So Crystal 1, welcome back. We missed you. And we're so glad to see that you're in the room. All righty. Kyra. Hey, Kyra. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. And if Miss Grace, if you're out there, hey, Kyra, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining us. Well, listen, we can't ever say good morning and not shout out the ladies who keep us humming and running each and every day. We got our girl Shantice. Hey, Shantice. Thank you so much for joining us. And we should be hearing from Shantice soon. And we got our girl Anika, who is always laying back up in the cut. Hey. Thank you so much for joining us and making sure we are up and running. Well, I stumbled across something last night and I was like, oh yeah. We're talking about sending our children to after-school programs where they're going to be focusing on the arts, sports, robotics, and things like that. And we have something else that we need to take care of for our young people, and that's to set them up financially with a wealth of information. Now, we give our kids money. We were given money as kids, and we're not really helping them understand about money. And this was a really interesting article, and I kind of browsed through it to see if it's the things that I would do with my children, if there were things that were in here that I had not considered doing with my children. But get your pens out, because some of you adults need these tips. I'm sorry. What do you want? I got to be honest, okay? And trust me when I tell you. Start early, they say. Yes, they say start early. Teaching them how to balance a budget, teaching them to be responsible for money, teaching them money management. All of these things are a learned behavior. I got to tell you, I know people my age don't have a dime in their pocket. I know people my age that don't have a dime in their pocket and making six figures. How are we managing? This is why we are always behind the 8 ball. Because trust me when I tell you, the other side of the fence, they set their people up. We're the ones that we are like oblivious to these habits. So start early. Talk to your kids early about money. I have a granddaughter, and we talk to her about money. And we don't just say money don't grow on trees. That was the saying back in the day. And I think Pastor KL said that a couple of times. It's like, money don't grow on trees. They need to know more than money don't grow on trees. All right. So make them aware, teach them how to count. Pastor K also said, somebody came in the store and he was a little tight, but he didn't know how to count. And definitely, if you're sending your children to the store, please teach them how to count. Please. There's 1,000,001 ways to teach your kids how to count. Now, see, here's one of the disadvantages. When we were growing up, we dealt with coins, money, dollars. I can't really tell you the last time I had a real dollar in my hand. Everything for Stephanie is swipe. I can't, because it seems as though if I break a 50, where did the other 49 go? I just can't keep up, because before you know it, it's gone. So you want to definitely introduce as early as possible. We don't send our children to the store the way we used to, because times just ain't made like that. But teach them the importance of money. Engage them in daily activities. That is tip number 2. Get them involved. Get them involved. Okay, Shantice is almost 40 and I'm just teaching her how to pay the mortgage. I'm sorry. That I did not start early enough. But engage them in daily activities, absolutely. We're going to the supermarket. Here's one of the things that was always a rule. How many times have people said I put things in the cart, and by the time I got to the register, I was like, where did all this money go? So there was a rule. Ma, can I have this? How much is it? Even if I knew the ballpark, or whether I knew exactly how much it was, how much is it? I don't know. Don't talk to me. Don't bring it to the cart. Don't ask me, can you have it? The rule is, if you don't know how much it is, you can't have it. Because see, I need to know what I will potentially be spending. And so do you if you're asking me. So see, all of these kind of things when we go to the supermarket, and like Pastor KL said, I think Lady Tamika said one time, you got left in the car. No, we can't leave them in the car. I need you to know what you're buying. I need you to know that things are getting more expensive and more expensive. The cookies you asked for, I'm sorry. Shatish used to always tease that I used to buy Dr. Thunder instead of Dr. Pepper. They had something to drink, didn't they? Does Shatish look like she was ever starving? Listen, I bought what was in the budget. And you look at it and just buy your water. So get them involved in the daily activities. It's up to you which daily activities you want to get them involved in. But yeah, they need to understand that money just don't grow on trees, but they need to see money just does not grow on trees. Now, here's the thing. They've broken this down in ages. So they're saying young children between the ages of 3 and 5. They're saying ask them whether the item that they're asking for is what they want or need. Adults can't answer that question. I think it's a little too young, personally. Okay, give them a few dollars and let them pick which snack to buy. Okay, I can live with that one, because I just got finished pretty much telling you that. Walk them through your own spending decisions. I'm sorry, 3 through 5, that's a little early for that, but I do agree that we need to do that. 6 through 12 is where I think we need to do that. When you get home, have them count the change and separate it based on the types of coins. Okay, this is definitely from the other side of the fence. Like I said, I can't tell you the last time we had coins in my house. Coins? I got to ask, who's got $3 so I can get on the Cessna ride and I'll sell you $3? That's the kind of life I live. So where are the coins and the dollars? We don't use them anymore. But 3 to 5, that I don't know. Y'all let me know. Okay, explain that while some things do cost money, other things are free. Yeah, I think that's good. The 3 through 5, yeah, I think that's good. School-age children. So they're saying get them involved in daily activities. Children ages 6 through 12. Ask them to think about a goal they'd like to save for a toy, a video game. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Talk about logistics. Why is it important for them to plan now and save for that goal? Yeah, I think that's okay. But then I want to include walk them through their own spending decisions. That ain't no 3 to 5. That's 6 through 12. All right. Where will they stash their money? stash. I think that's a bad word to use because stash says underneath the mattress, in the wall, like family members used to do. Use a different terminology. What trade-offs will they need to make? Good. I like that one. I like that one. You can't keep everything. Some things gotta stay and some things gotta go. If you want this, you don't have to let go of that one. I'm sorry. I love that. 6 through 12, perfect. To help them visualize reaching their goal, you could even create a chart to map their progress here. I think 6 through 12 is good. Closer to the 12. Yeah, I like that. All right, they're talking about how do we help our teens ages 13 plus in our everyday spending. Help them jot down a list of their expenses. Absolutely. Consider showing them your budget. Absolutely. Yes, one of the biggest regrets I have as a single parent was I'm going to concentrate on this and I'm going to let y'all only concentrate on school. Yeah, I regretted that one. Yeah, I came to regret that because I think they need to understand what I'm spending the money on. Ma can have this, Ma can have that, Ma can have this, Ma, why can't we have this, why can't we have that? I want this, I can't have that. And then especially when they're getting to senior dues and, things like that, and you really have to stretch the pennies because somebody told me that high school senior dues now was $1,000. You have lost your mind. To go to public school, you've lost your mind. But nonetheless, yeah, I really said that they needed to understand that this was the Con Ed bill. This was the gas bill. Because I moved here when my older two were 9 and 4. So they've had the majority of their lives here in underneath a mortgage and household bills. My youngest, straight house bills. That's all she's ever known. And she came much further, behind the older two. So things were a little different for her. And I regretted not showing them. Like I said just now, Shantice is making the mortgage payments. Now, it would be nice if it was coming out of her account. But listen, what can you do, right? If it could, it would. For her, absolutely. But yeah, let your children understand. There may be things you may not want to show them, but definitely the food bill, water bill, gas bill, light bill. Yeah, because now they're seeing why I used to tell them, okay, you don't know your body parts? Get in and get out. Why are we running water for an hour? You were just in there yesterday. So they need to understand that sometimes we're going to have to sacrifice some things to have some other things. If I'm putting all this money into the water bill and you want brand new sneakers, I'm sorry, you just wore your sneakers when you were taking a shower. What do you want me to tell you? That's Pastor Steph. That's my little thing. Use money management app designed for teens. Well, I didn't know that there was a money management app designed for teens, but if it's out there, I would say, yeah, let them start using it. They use every other app. Let them use an app that's going to help them do better in life. All right. So that was still number 2, by the way. 3, be strategic with cash gifts. I agree 100%. I have people that have told me, who are older than me, if I had saved $1 from every time I got money, I'd have a couple dollars in my pocket today. And I don't think we've taken enough time. We just giving. And it's funny because I just told my daughter that I didn't give my granddaughter anything for her graduation. And it's almost back to school time. So I wanted to kind of do both now. And it's funny that I stumbled across this because I was trying to be strategic. And how could Grandma help you with learning how to spend, learning how to save? So this was perfect. This was perfect for me. Number 4, encourage entrepreneurship and earning their own money. Ding, 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 ding. Yes. Everybody is not meant to work for. However, everybody is not meant to work for themselves either. Let me tell you something. We're going to talk about this thing. Let's talk about it Thursday. Please help me understand how people don't want to work for somebody else. They must work for themselves, and they don't spend no time with family. They don't spend no time resting. They don't spend no time doing nothing but working. Now, let me help you understand that there's supposed to be a balance here. The whole purpose of working for yourself are supposed to be the perks. Now, if your life is like that, I guarantee you that the perks of working for someone, they're better. Why? Because now you're mandated to get FMLA and other medical benefits. You ain't taking no medical benefits when you're working for you. You killing yourself. You get vacation time. You don't take vacation when you work for you. And I'm not talking about people who are brand new at this. So please hold your thoughts. I'm not talking about people who are just starting, because that's a learned behavior. But let me tell you something. There are things that you can learn before becoming an entrepreneur while you're working for someone else. Yes. So y'all over here killing yourselves, working for yourselves, then to me, that whole theory has just been blown straight out the water. You might as well go ahead and work for somebody else. You get sick time, vacation time, medical leave, just all kind of benefits and all kinds of things, as long as you're an employee and not an employer. So everybody ain't meant to work for themselves. So yes, encourage entrepreneurship, but you need to encourage a lot more along with that. Earning your own money, yeah. Get a side hustle legally. Get a side hustle, because this thing would work for you. So let me tell you, I have not seen one person that I know work for themselves, and I'm looking at them saying, I want to be like you. No, because you're doing it wrong, because nobody taught us how to do it right. And after 15 years, you still haven't figured this out. I'm sorry, it shouldn't take us that long. Call me crazy. All right. Now, one of the last things they say, offer a small loan. Yeah, I agree with that. Because they need to understand the way of the world when it comes from you. You know, a lot of people talked about the Cosby Show, how unrealistic they were. I'm sorry. There were a many episodes where there were a many lessons taught. And one of the lessons was when Theo moved out. And they emptied out his bedroom, gave him money, and had him start from scratch. And he had a landlord, he had a job, he had parents, he it all, but he had to start from scratch and learn how to spend that money. And I think that was one of the most ingenious things I had ever seen. And teaching them how to borrow is real crucial, because people my age don't know how to borrow and pay back. So I try not to lend money, because see, Stephanie forgets. So I'm rich silently. I'm rich. I should be living in a mansion right now, because people do not pay back. They are not people of their word. When you hear, oh, I got this excuse, that excuse to borrow, stop borrowing. Some people have made it a lifestyle to borrow, because they're going to get paid. No, you're already in a deficit if you didn't borrow it out your paycheck. So when your paycheck come, you already messed up. So this is perfect. I think it's perfect. And the last thing they suggest is get your kids into the right savings vehicles. Yeah. Teach them how to save. And that was one of the earlier points that they made. Teach them how to save. So this was really, really good. You'll probably have to go back and pay, and listen to this again. But I definitely agree. All right, we got to check it from our girl, Renee. Hey, girl. How are the ladies? I'm glad to see you on with us. Thank you for joining us this morning. We got to check it from our girl, Tamika. Hey, Tamika. Hope to be talking to you in a couple of minutes. Renee says it is imperative to learn finances from a young age. Absolutely, girl. Absolutely. Earning, saving, spending, and investing needs to be learned. Yes, it is a learned behavior. You don't just automatically wake up and know these things. Miss Charlene says, open them up a bank account and stash their money and their shoes. I'm with you, Miss Charlene. I'm with you. She said the same rules apply for the teenagers. Absolutely. Especially when they're a teen. Because that's when they're developing habits. Ma, can I borrow? Ma, do you have? Yeah. That's especially the time. Tamika says, I loaned $100 to a man. A week later, he paid me back. 1 week after that, we both had a paid event. He was paid $100. He asked me for my $100. See what I'm talking about? Yeah, bad spending habits, bad borrowing habits, bad. We're going to talk about that thing. I had some other stuff to talk about, but we're going to talk about that thing. All right, let's talk about the news real quick. I had some stuff. Wait. This one here. So, you've got this trans sex offender who escapes prosecution for alleged schoolyard kidnapping attempt. So here's how the story goes. There's a young man, and I'm going to call him a young man because I don't think he's all that old. He is mentally he was diagnosed at 16, his sister said, with schizophrenia and bipolar issues. And he's now transgendering. Well, he tried to snatch a child off of a soccer field, or it was some kind of game they were playing. And when he went to court, they let him go because they said that when they checked him mentally, when he went through the mental checking, that he was not fit to be held accountable for his actions. So they let him go from criminal court. So now there's an issue of he's had a history of mental illness. He has a criminal history, an extensive criminal history. And the problem is when they went to put him in the mental facility, there were no beds. Now, I'm sorry. I don't know where this is right here. But you mean to tell me ain't no mental beds in the state, in the whole state, that you would allow this man to be free from another sexual offense? He's registered as a sex offender because the way they give the chain of events, he was found guilty after he started taking his pills and things like that. he was found doing something sexual. So he had to register as a sex offender. But he's on the street to snatch up the kid. So now the parents of the children who were on the field that day are describing traumatized children, especially the one he snatched up. The only reason why he got away was because he was carrying a blanket and tripped over the blanket. So when he grabbed the kid around the waist, but tripped over the blanket and lost hold of the child. Don't know where he was taking the child. He didn't have a car or anything like that. But now they say he must live in like a 2-level home, because the father says that he won't even go upstairs to brush his teeth without being accompanied. So you let this individual walk around, even to the degree of the defense attorneys are like perturbed. And they are trying to diligently find a place for him to go. It is not guaranteed he is going to end up in a mental facility, which is why they were actually interviewing the sister, because they were trying to see what has happened and from how long ago. And she said that, like I said, from 16 years old, he was diagnosed. And this has been his issue. So he was on Facebook telling everybody how he had posted, how he was taking his pills. He was, kind of transitioning from one to the other. He was growing breasts. His shape was changing. This is who we have out on the street, because we ain't got no beds. So my question becomes, how come you can't send him somewhere else? So you're left to be a menace, a danger to not only other people, but to yourself, as well as traumatizing children to the degree where they don't even want to leave and go brush their teeth without being accompanied because they're afraid. And these are rules and laws. Sick and more sick. I'm asking the Due Time crew, what do you think is the remedy? If they don't have beds, why don't you have beds? There is nothing but real estate everywhere. Everywhere. Some abandoned buildings, some abandoned homes, some something. Some a lot, some something. Some wing in the hospital that ain't being used. Something where you can get these people attention. So, I don't know, y'all. Y'all need to help me pray. Let me see what else is going on here. Oh, we have to talk about this one. We got to talk about this one. And then we're going to our Due Time crew. So, I had a series of events where I got a credit card I was supposed to get a credit card in the mail. And before I got the credit card in the mail, I went to pay the bill and I saw all these charges. So I called. I was like, listen, I don't even have the card. The card I have is expired. How I got all these charges? And these were local charges, like Brooklyn and, at a store, a smoke shop. I'm like, what is happening here? So they sent me a new card. Before I could get that card, I went to pay the bill and I had new charges off a card that I had never gotten in my possession. So I called again. This happened twice with one credit card company. So about a year later, which was very recent, another credit card company. I went to pay the bill, and I have multiple cards with this company. And I went to pay the bill. I'm like, $400 on what? One of the cards. So I had to call. Listen, I have the card in my possession, but it was like out in Philly or California, one of them places. Okay, Miss Griffin, don't worry about it. We'll cancel the card. We'll send you a new one. I forgot all about it. But when I went to pay the bill, lo and behold, what do you think I find? More charges from Nevada. And I was like, are y'all serious? I said, listen, this got to be one of the things I said for the first incident, I called the post office and I said, listen, this is local. Somebody snatching up these cards from your post office. The second incident, I asked the people, I said, what's going on internally? How before the cards get to be released from you, I already got charges everywhere. I haven't even left New York. So I said all of that to say, when I was ranting and raving, I wasn't too far off, because the next story I'm about to tell you is about a 31-year-old young lady who was a post office worker. Shantice, you have got to show these two pictures. She has wads of money in her social media post. That one, and you got to show the next one, Shantice. This is insane. Insane. And she has wads of money because she has been found stealing credit cards, cashing people's checks. Yeah. She's having a ball from right inside the post office. And the first thing I thought about was all the times I kept saying, this is internal. Ain't no way in the world you telling me and I said to them, I get all my other credit cards. Why all of a sudden I'm not getting these ones? Before y'all can send me the cards, already there's another one, Shantice, where she's got it spread out on there in front of her. This is how she posted on social media. She's been to, what do they say? Turks and Caicos. She's a USPS worker who is in California. And she has been admittedly, yes, that's the one, admittedly stealing the credit cards, the checks. She's admittedly stolen these things and sold them and given to her people the cards to use, the checks to cash. They found, when they went through her apartment, they found she had 100, and at that time, she had 130 stolen credit and debit cards, 16 United States Treasury checks, and a loaded, unserialized Glock-style ghost gun with an extended magazine. They say she had tons of luxury goods that she had purchased with the stolen cards and with the money. She had been to Aruba and Turks and Caicos. She has been doing this for years. 31. You took your youth and just threw it down the toilet for temporary fun. Temporary fun. Because they say she can do up to 30 years. Now, will she get to 30 years? I don't know. But if you got 5-10 years, you just threw away your youth for temporary fun. Now, here's the thing. If they don't press you for your co-conspirators, they say, no, they're having a ball. They didn't have a ball and go watch you rot. Because them same people, if they needed your money and your ingenuity and your credit cards to get through and to get by, there ain't nothing they could do for you when you're sitting up in jail. Nothing. Because see, they don't have the inside track like you do. Look at the wad of money. Look at the wad of money. So they said they also found that she had, of course, like identification, like fake IDs. Of course you had to have fake IDs. Listen, Chase, from years ago, I couldn't send someone else to deposit money for me. What do you That's why they care. I had to put Shantice's name on the account in order for her to get her own card and to be able to do transactions, because they no longer at Chase allow you, and I think it's Citibank as well. Somebody else told me they have to take a money order. Yeah. But Chase, it don't matter. If you ain't me, you don't go up in there making any transactions for me. So that's why Zelle is like so crucial, because you can move money all over the place with Zelle. But they track it because you better have your name's got to be associated. Everything has got to be associated with that Zelle. It's not you just not popping up. Where is my due time crew? Yo, this is crazy. Yes, Pastor Steph is pretty lit today because this is crazy. What's going on, Lady Tamika?
Good morning. Happy Thursday. How are you today?
I'm like, whoa, the stuff we talking about here. So you got this young lady, 31 years old, who is stealing credit cards, money, checks, making ID, all kinds of things, stupid idiot, posting on social media, which helped to get her caught. Now, here's the thing. We just got finished talking about teaching our children about finances very early. Would this have benefited her? Oh my goodness.
We're talking about another dumb criminal. You know, we we got a whole lot of them, you know, and just not wise. You know, okay, fine. You got that luxury now, but you're gonna spend time, you know, in jail for all of this stuff, and all of your friends are, you know, living it up. You got a you know, Balenciaga bag, and, you know, I'm just saying, you know, any type of luxury, you know, I understand that luxury is for a season. You know, fine, you took those trips, that was nice, you got good, you know, good memories from that, but you're gonna suffer, you know. And I think about, you know, I kept trying to figure out the same thing. I kept saying, because I had that happen with me with a ATM card, and I kept saying, I just got the card, how is it that I'm getting charges, you know? And my household is a cash household for the most part. You know, if we can purchase it by cash, we will. You know, of course, if you're purchasing something online, you can't. But, you know, because we're a cash household, we're very cognizant. You know, before I could even get the ATM card, and it happened to me twice. And I'm like, somebody's doing something. You know, it's impossible. And, you know, I complained to the bank, you know, and they was like, oh, I'm sorry, we'll send you, because that's basically all they can do is send you another one. You know, and I was grateful the third time, you know, and what I ended up doing was, just even now, to be cautious, what I do is I lock my card, you know, because it's just crazy. Nowadays, there's so many different ways to get access to your account, especially if you've got if you've got an Apple account, you can go in there and never use that particular card. You give them a separate card, and all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute. And so I took that out. I don't even have the Apple charges. You can't do it on my, you know, can't do it. And again, that's because we use cash, but it's horrible to know that your job, you got one job, deliver the mail. And in addition to that, you stealing stuff and benefiting off of somebody's hard-earned cash. Somebody is working to get that money, and you using it. Horrible, just absolutely horrible.
It is disgusting. So now you'll be able to spend from your commissary.
Yeah.
Have at it. Have at it. We got Renee. Well, Ketty says, wow, he looks scary. Ketty, scary ain't the word. We coming back. Renee said, this is sad. It's going to open up doors to other pedophiles to claim mental illness. Absolutely. Serge says, why would you let someone who looks like that go? He looks like a possessed person. Exactly, sir. That's what Renee says. So Renee says, yes, get USPS notifications. You can see where your mail is to expected. Okay, that's a good idea. Thanks for that little piece of advice. Serge says, I'm scary. I'm sorry. These people don't think they're going to get caught up. Yes, you're right. You think you just gonna splurge and it's just gonna be this endless splurging. With Android phones, you don't need your cards in your hands as well. I don't know about that. I'm like, I don't need nothing in my phone like that. I don't know. I don't know, Serge. That thing there where you could just and it's convenient. It's convenient. Don't misunderstand me. I don't know. So, because if I lose my phone, then what? Nah. Everyone said, well, you gotta have access. I don't know. That one I ain't moved into yet. Where is Vivian? Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. I'm all right. We're talking about this 31-year-old USPS worker. She ain't too much different in age than you. What is she thinking?
She wasn't thinking. Because they always find a way to find out. All the pieces of mail that y'all are supposed to be delivering, they know you're supposed to be delivering it. So they're going to be able, it may take some time, but they're going to be able to track that you were the one who stole it. And then for you to put it on social media, people just, I don't even understand why.
Either.
You're just confessing to the sin.
Right.
You're confessing to the crime. Like, I don't understand. I really don't get why people always tell on themselves by putting things on social media.
I don't either, Viv. It is just the most idiotic thing. It's like they need to have the word confession in the dictionary and next to it a person on social media like this.
Right.
This is confession. This is just so stupid. It is so stupid. Anika says, Android phones generate a virtual card number and doesn't use your actual for transactions. And it's not just Androids, by the way. And I was going to mention that I got a couple of bank cards, and when I go to pay, it asks me, do I want to get my virtual card? And it works for when you're like doing something online, but can I, use it in an everyday transaction? I guess so. I guess you can. So it's not just Android card. It's not just Android phones, y'all. It is any merchant that will issue you a virtual card number. So that is an option. Very good. Right? Mail is always missing on your route. Right. Renee, like Vivian said, eventually, if it got to come to 11313 and it just keeps missing, eventually they're gonna do a simple, reasonable deduction when people keep calling. Oh, where's Shantice? Another millennial. What's going on? Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you, ladies?
Doing well.
Well, thank you. Well, we're actually talking about Gen Zs. We're not talking about millennials. If you're 31, you're in that Gen Z category. Shantice, help us. Vivian just gave her thought. Tamika gave her thought. What are we doing?
I just reiterated this past Sabbath how the streets are about broke people trying to impress other broke people. So you're trying to generate an audience on social media. You're stealing. That's not your money. You're broke. So you're now trying to stunt, as they say, in front of other broke people. I don't understand why it makes sense for me to generate an audience. What is the next broke person going to do for you? So you just want to see a bunch of broke likes? You want to be able to go under this post and see what 300-400 hearts? Because as you said, Pastor Steph, ain't nobody about to put anything on your books. Your commissary is going to be blank. Okay? So all that money that you stole, you can't keep, sis. So who's about to help you? While you, like you said, whether you get the max 30 years, or whether you get 5, 10, 1 year, you're going to be broke in there. Now, I never understand why you feel the need to generate this audience as if they're going to help you. So you just help to be the example as to what not to do. That's what you did. You raised your hand and said, ooh, I want to be the spokesperson to not do this. To not, and again, I keep asking, why do they think that scamming is new? Scamming is one of the oldest tricks in the book. And you're always going to get caught. You always get caught. Why? Because you do stupid stuff like this. Or you think you putting other people on. So now by the time you generate your scamming crew, they get caught and now they snitch on you. It's just, it's dumb. People so dumb till they stupid. This right here. That's
you're right. They have made her also give back. She had to forfeit, as they do with the drug dealers.
Right.
You gotta give stuff. If they think you bought it with the stolen money or the drug money, you gotta give that stuff up. So
Right.
she's had to give that up as well. And what you gonna do now? You ain't got no friends. These ain't your friends. That's the KL. These ain't your friends.
Goodness gracious.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Well, thanks. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
What is up with this stealing from the post office? Like they ain't never gonna find out issue. This is only gonna be short-lived, and your payment is gonna be much larger than your take.
Exactly. And you know what? Thieves get comfortable after a while. You know, when you steal for the first time, you check all your boxes, you cross your T's, you dot your I's. And then when it seems like it's so easy, you get comfortable. And then you get sloppy. That's what happens. They get sloppy. You know, I heard you talking about cards and stuff like that. You know, they got, you can pay in stores with your phone because your card is hooked up to your phone. So they got tap to pay. Now, why you want to do that? First of all, you know, with technology going down, what happened when the system go down? Now you got $300 of groceries sitting on my counter, and you got a tap to pay. Now I got to tap all this stuff back up. It's just ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. I had a Capital One card, and somebody tapped into my Capital One card. So now what's in my wallet? Nothing. You know what I mean? It's crazy. You know? So it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
This is some terrible stuff. Anika says yes, the virtual can be used online. Sir says it's a wild Thursday. Yes. Yes, sir, it's a wild Thursday. All right, let's go backwards a little bit to this pedophile that's been allowed, a sex offender who's been allowed to be free because there were no beds in the psych ward. And despite the fact that he is a registered sex offender, he's been allowed to walk the streets. And because he was allowed to walk the streets, he got his hands on one of the little boys on one of the playing fields, like a soccer field or something like that. And they let him go again because they found that he was not fit to serve and to understand what he had done. And they are now trying to make sure that he goes into a facility, but they're not sure because it's some technicality between the criminal issue and the mental institution. Really weird. So there's a heavy possibility that he will walk the street again. What are we talking about, Tamika?
Well, sir, ma'am, person, you don't even know what you want to be, much less, attacking somebody's child. You have already been found guilty. And so you mean, okay, fine. If New Jersey, let's just say, doesn't have a place to put you, you couldn't put you in New York or Connecticut or Philly or Delaware or anywhere,
Right. Right.
Because my
Right.
thing is, as long as this person is out, you risk the fact that somebody's child is in jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason why this
Yep.
child didn't get caught is through a technicality. You got caught tripping on a blanket, and so now, you got to be cautious about children in a neighboring area, and I understand that they have the, sex offenders registry, but you think about it, in your own neighborhood, do you know the pedophiles that live right in your neighborhood? Who averagely,
No.
who literally knows? With that being the case, okay, fine, you registered, but I don't know that you live right around the corner, so anybody's child is suspect. And if you look, if you're short enough, he might even try you because you look like a child, so you just have to be ever so careful. And the fact that the entire state, okay, fine, if you say Brooklyn can't house you, okay, what about Queens? What about Manhattan, Long Island, Staten Island? You mean to tell me nowhere in the state, nowhere in the country, you can find any
Right.
place to put him, a housing facility, where it's just him, those type of anything is available. The fact that you said that he walks on a technicality can, just like it was already said, it can open up the doors for a whole lot of different pedophiles. And the way that this world works and the way that, people's mentalities and the spirit works, it's scary.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What say you, Viv?
Listen, if there's no beds in the psych ward where he needs to be, then put him in jail, put him in prison. It's either that or let him walk, and that's insane. So I'm gonna let him walk and have him free to be able to do this again to another child or harm somebody else. That don't make sense. If there's no beds anywhere else, then he gonna have to go to prison. That seems like an easy fix to me.
Right.
Even if you're afraid
Right.
of what might happen to him when he's locked up, then put him
Right.
by himself. But
Right.
don't
Right.
have him on the street. That's not a solution.
Shantice, look at the picture.
Mm-mm.
If somebody didn't tell you that there was something wrong, would you want that walking the street?
This picture helps me to say to Jesus, you need to come now. Like, I'm sorry, I can't say it to him because he don't know when God is sending him. God, you need to send him now. Because if ignoring you leads to me looking like this, I don't need no seconds being able to look like this here. I don't understand. There's no logic. So you want to put 10 million, how much was it? $10 million into the greenery?
30.
$30 million into the greenery. Is your greenery safe with this walk in the street? So let's just play your illogical game. How safe is your greenery with this? Now, my question was, whose blanket did you fall over? Why you got a blanket? You trying to wrap the kid up in the blanket? And now you're chasing the kids? Because I saw the video where the kids are like running away. Of course, you would have to tell the child, don't say hi to him. Don't accept candy from him. All the kids just started running. So now you don't know which kid to go chasing after because everybody's just running from you. And it's again, like we were speaking about yesterday. It's like y'all want the civilians to take matters into their own hands because y'all are not setting us up for success at all. They have this stupid Citizens Act, and this is why it's stupid. If you get alerted if a bird is tap dancing in the middle of the street, you get an alert. If the squirrel then stole a nut from your neighbor's yard, you get an alert. I got an alert that there's a pedophile in my area, but I had to pay $1 to see the picture. Why?
Wow.
So I have to pay to protect my child. Meanwhile, you claim this app is supposed to alert me as to what danger is going on around me. They don't care anything about the community at all. It's all about however it's going to benefit them. And maybe him getting locked up right now is not going to benefit the powers that be. But there's no way you're going to tell me that there's nothing you can do with this person who is a danger to not just people, to kids. As crazy as some parents are, you would really allow a known sex offender to walk the streets, and then you're gonna lock the parent up if the parent tries to kill this person. That's the craziest thing. You're gonna find a jail cell for that parent, but there's nowhere for him to go. Completely unacceptable.
All righty. Pastor KL, when he ran up on them, the kids yelled, "Stranger danger." And they were scattered.
The kids should have yelled Thriller.
I was just
video. I thought it was Thriller. I mean, to me, listen, they talking about they let him out on technicality. They should have kept him in on technicality just because of what he looked like.
Exactly.
I don't care if you had to put him in the hallway and chain him to the radiator until a room was available. You know what I mean? You don't put him on the street. He didn't look like he ready to kill somebody. He ready to do something. Just on his presence alone. He don't even look like he in a shirt and tie and maybe he'll do good this time. He look like if you just give me the opportunity to get back out, I'll be back in an hour. He look like I'll be back in an hour. He is why they call it a repeat offender. Because I'll be back. I'll be back. This is what I do for a living. Y'all crazy.
Yeah, I hate, I'm sure everybody does not enjoy some of the comments that we make, but I got to tell you, this one here, I have to agree on looks alone, as an adult, and it sounds real discriminatory. It sounds insensitive. It sounds hateful. Listen, if this is the way God is alerting us, a lot of these sex offenders and pedophiles and people like this, they don't look like who they are. This here, you could see this amount. When he went up on the yard, they yelled, "Stranger danger." Thank God. Thank God that there was some level of appearance that alerted the kids, and he still managed to get to one. So you only got one coach on the field, and if you got a field of children scattered, so now we have to re-strategize who's on the field outside of the children, because where did he come from? How did you? Because listen, if you look like a man in a shirt and tie or a woman in a dress, you still accessed this field. From where? How? What gate was open? What fence was loose? It didn't have the chain on it. How that he got that close up that he could actually grab a child? And thanks to the technicality of him having a blanket, it now ran, interference.
But normally, Pastor Steph, what I've noticed, a lot of the schoolyards, they've been renovating, but the few that have still been open, they've been trying to ensure, from what I've been noticing, that there's only one entrance available.
Right.
So normally there is 2-3 entrances to the schoolyard, but since we have these children out here playing, we're gonna, like you said, chain these 2 gates up.
Right.
And we only have this one, and there's someone like almost pretty much sitting closer to that one, even if they're not sitting right at that entrance, but there's someone kind of manning that entrance, while there are a few other counselors or teachers with the kids in the schoolyard. So like you said, this was unfortunately someone's negligence.
Not only that, This is not New York.
No, because when you said they said stranger danger, I said that was on this side of the fence.
It was. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But my point is, it's not New York. New York has different strategies for schools, and you follow what I'm saying? You're talking about in one of these outside states where Pastor KL, you haven't been in New York in a minute, but do they have the same practices in Alabama that they do in New York?
In regards to what? Pedophile?
Something. It could be anything. What did he say?
He said in regards to what? The pedophiles?
No, it could be anything. So, like Shanti said, we here a schoolyard. They have multiple entrances. However, one is locked and one is open and is manned. Is that the way it is on a school field out in one of the outer states? You know, they don't have that fence and gate and all of that kind of stuff. Is that correct? I'm just saying this could be one area.
No, that is correct. All the doors are locked. You know what? Even the main door is locked. You have to be buzzed in. You have to be buzzed in high school. Yes, where I am.
Okay, yeah. Okay. All right. So they're taking precautions everywhere, which is good. But this particular area is not New York, and it was an open field, which is why, you know, you can't go to a school and it's not open. The gates all around locked.
Did they say that it was on? Did they say it was on school premises?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This what makes it scary, because he was able to get on, you know, this here and this field, and to be able to get that close to a child and snatch that child up, it's scary. It's really scary. All right, let's talk about the first. The health tip today was a tip about teaching your children to be financially set. Let me see how they term it. Setting your children up for financial success. And one of the things they say, the first thing they say is start early. How early is early to you, Vivian?
I would say as soon as they could start asking for stuff that costs money, that's early enough. They need to start learning from then that money don't grow on trees. So whatever that age is, when they can form their lips to say, "Mommy, can I have?" then that's early enough. If it's 2, then they need to start learning about money from 2. If they know more about my cell phone than I do, they need to learn about money.
Oh, that's a good point. Shantice, how early is early? They say start teaching your child financial strategies early. How early is early?
I say they come out the womb. I was watching a 1-year-old with this thumb just scrolling on the iPad this past weekend, and I'm like, "What? She knew how to identify which video she wanted. Her mother put it on a video. She looked at her mother and was like, 'Excuse you.'" I said this episode. So guess what? Right then, it would have been no excuse you. Move the iPad. I put a quarter in front of you, a dime in front of you, a nickel in front of you, a penny in front of you. You about to learn which one is which, the value of which. You gonna learn everything you're supposed to learn, because learning how to swipe is important. But learning this money is important too, because how you think we need all of these in order to get this. You know, a whole lot of quarters and pennies and nickels and dimes in order to get these devices you want to swipe. So I don't think it's ever too early to start teaching these children now, because if you old enough to ask for it, and you old enough to whine and cry for it, and you know this is how the baby say, "Give me," yeah, You're gonna look up and there's gonna be a bill right in your hand. Bam. Yeah, see that? At one. Kind of
Oh my goodness.
right there. No, it's never too early now. The streets are getting a lot more drastic. These kids are a whole lot smarter. Absolutely. Start as soon as possible.
Pastor KL, how early is early?
Well, I'm in agreement with Shanti. As soon as you come out. But first of all, listen, there's a routine that babies have. You know, when babies urinate, they start crying and they want their pamper changed. Listen, pampers cost too much money. You got to boo-boo and urinate. You know, after you boo-boo, then cry. You know what I mean? I can't keep on changing pampers just because you tinkled a little bit. No, we need to understand the value of a pamper. Now, let's go a little further. You know, the kids like to put money in their mouth. And you ever had a child who swallowed a quarter? I need that quarter. So now I got to wait until it come out the other way to get my quarter back. No, we need to know, they need to know how important this money is. Pampers cost way too much money. Similac costs way too much money. We're not wasting Similac. No, you're going to drink the whole bottle. I'm sorry. You need to drink this whole bottle. The whole 4 ounces, 8 ounces, whatever it is. We need to drink the whole thing. You know how much a can of Similac costs? No, I'm sorry. We're going to go back to pet milk. How about that? Some of y'all don't know what pet milk is, but we're going to go back to pet milk. Just add a little water and we'll be okay.
Yep.
Oh my.
Yep. Tamika, you know, Shantice and Pastor KL, they off the hook. How early is early, girl?
I'm sorry, I'm with them. As soon as they go, you have a baby. Here's a bill. No, I am with them because, you know, here's the thing. Oh my gosh. This is why little Johnny is in debt at 26, because all you taught him was to tap and pay, not really realizing that, you know, things, even with, all I have to use is this card. Now all of a sudden you're trying to figure out why you $400 in debt because of this particular thing. You know, I think about my girlfriend who ended up, she was in the store trying to buy some things for her child, school is coming up. And, she had taught him certain things, but she didn't teach him enough. He was up there playing a game. Bleep, swipe, beep, swipe, sweep, swipe. She's in the store and the lady's saying, your card declined. Y'all know that feeling. She was completely embarrassed and mortified because she hadn't taught him the value of $1. So he's playing games and swiping it on her card, her bank account card. And then when she went to go buy purchases for him, they were telling her card is declined. You have to do your due diligence with telling your child about finances, about the future, and you have adults who don't know how to finance and how to maintain their bank account because, again, they were taught if they swipe, it's fine. You're not looking at how to balance every dime, every dollar. You need to be cognizant. They just take out such and such. How did you not know that they take off such and such? Because you're not cognizant. You weren't told as a child. And now when you're an adult, you miss all of the finances and things. And you got to learn it from somebody else, who's 9 times your age or older to be able to figure out how to function in this world now.
As you started talking, Tamika, I thought about the Instagram post that I came across where this woman was at, and I saw one again the other day with a little boy, but there's a woman with a little girl. They're on the other side of the fence and she's yelling. The little girl purchased all this stuff off Amazon. She couldn't have been no more than about 8 years old. And she was like, who told you that it was okay for you to go and purchase all this stuff? And she was like, well, you purchased and that's what I wanted. So I'm starting to lean on y'all because after. And then the other day I saw the Instagram post where it was a little boy. Now he had to be about 6. And what did he buy? Did he buy some sneakers? It was something. And sure enough, she was like, where did these sneakers, whatever it was, where did it come from? And he said, I bought it. She was like, what do you mean you bought it? I bought it. And she said, with what? With a card, with your card. Yeah. These kids, couldn't have been no more than about 6 years old.
Exactly.
Couldn't have been any more than about 6 years
Pastor,
old.
we've
Yes.
done stories. Remember the story of the little boy? He shot his mother because he wanted to
because of the
gain
headphones.
Yeah, so we got to get to these kids before they turn into murderers
Yes.
because they don't understand the value of a dollar.
Right. I forgot about that one. Vivian, we're about to lose you. What are you saying going out of here today?
Listen, get to these kids as early as you can in every way possible. Spiritually, make sure they're in church. Financially, make sure they're wise about the money that you have and that they will one day have. Get to these kids early because the world is definitely going to get to them. So make sure you're getting to these kids early enough to have a better influence on them than the world will.
All right, amen. Thank you so much for your contribution into today's conversation, and we pray you have a blessed day.
Thank you. You too. Have a good day, everyone.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Good day.
Thank you too. Serge says they don't care about the kids. Our kids go missing every day, and Anika is laughing at Pastor KL. All right, the next tip they give is engage them in daily activities. Now, for the children 3 through 5, I want you to tell me which one you would cross off the list. All right. They're saying at ages 3 through 5, ask them whether that item from the candy aisle they toss into the shopping cart is a want or a need. Give them a few dollars and let them pick which snack to buy. Ages 3 through 5. Walk them through your own spending decisions. When you get home, have them count the change and separate it based on the types of coins. Or explain that while some things do cost money, other things are free. These are ages 3 through 5. Which one would you cross off the list, Pastor KL?
You ain't gonna just throw nothing in my cart. I'm sorry. That's coming off the list. I'm walking down, my back is turned, I turn around and I see the whole candy store in my cart. No, you just know that's coming off the list. Listen, most of that stuff coming off the list, to be honest with you. But that one is definitely coming off the list. We're not doing a whole bunch of that stuff. Remember, I'm old, so I'm from the old school. You're just not doing all that stuff. Get your own cart with your own money.
Now, these are tips, Pastor KL, that they're giving us. This is how we train our 3 to 5-year-olds in engaging them in daily activities. Well, I have to tell you, Shantice could tell you, your girl Shawnee's infamous. I get to the checkout, more than half the stuff. I'm like, what is this? What is this?
She would wait until, because let me just let y'all, this is why you can never get it past the Steph. I love being in the store with her until it's time to go to the checkout line. Why? Because now we got to get another cart, because now we got to separate the stuff she got in this cart. So we get there, and it's never like we first get on the line. So let's say we go to get on the line, and there's like 4 people ahead of us. Okay, we sitting there laughing, ha ha ha. Oh, look at the candy bar. Okay, now we get up to the register. Oh, go get a cart because I got to separate this. Why you didn't say you wanted to separate this before? So now I got to go, especially in the Walmart, you got to go outside to get the other cart because there's no wandering carts inside Walmart. So now I got to go outside, get a cart, come back in. So by the time she done separated it into 3 different piles, you trying to sneak your stuff up in there. And then she goes, oh, now pass me the stuff for the house. Now pass me the stuff for me. Now pass me the miscellaneous stuff. So now you don't know which pile to put your stuff in because she's sitting there and she's staring at it. And then it's always, where this come from? So now everybody looking at each other. And then she puts it there. And it's, where this come from? So that now even the cashier is laughing. So you can't sneak anything past her because you don't know which pile or which cart. So you almost have to steal it if you ain't got the money. Okay, let it go around her and the cashier and just put it where the bags are because you're gonna get caught. But Shawnice would always wait until that point to let it be known, oh, I want this. So that just prolongs the whole checkout experience.
Yeah, she would. That was your girl, Pastor KL. So we from the same school. No, I'm sorry. This ain't going in. No, this is not going in here. Tamika, which one are you taking off the list that you think is just either useless, they're too young, or I wouldn't do this regardless of the age?
At 3 to 5, I'm not taking you through my stuff to show you my decisions. You know,
thank you.
That just doesn't make sense.
Thank you.
You know, I'm buying real. I'm paying for real stuff here. And you talking about me going at 3 to 5, you don't understand what I'm saying, basically. You know, it's just blah, blah, blah. It doesn't make any sense. You know, so that's one I'm definitely taking off the list. You know, and sometimes at the age of 3 to 5, they don't know what the difference between wants and needs. Everything is a want.
Right,
so at 3 to 5, you can't even gauge. You know, yeah, I can tell you we got chips at home. Yeah, but okay, I'll give you a prime example. We got French fries at home. We got burgers at home, but McDonald's is open. I want McDonald's. That's a need for a child of 3 to 5. That's a need. It's a need for me to go into the little playground and play with the kids. That's a need for them at 3 to 5. You have to wait a little longer for them to understand the difference.
Right. I'm like, I was looking at this. I'm like, what? 3 to 5 decades? Since 3 to 5 years that you're talking about this stuff. Shantice, which ones do you pull off the list for the 3 to 5 year olds?
Definitely the need and the want, because I agree, everything is a need. I need to have this, I need to have that. You don't know what you need. I'm definitely not taking you through what I'm getting, because you're not about to now act like you're on my level as far as what you think you need. So I feel like I need this. Now you feel like you need this. Not that you can't comprehend it, but you're not about to try to level up your needs to now match my needs. You're not doing that. It was another one I forgot. But I see, it's too many options being given. I don't remember having all these options. I don't remember having these options as a toddler, as an adolescent, as a teenager, nor as an adult. I don't have these options.
Excuse me, you don't have these options now.
I just said as an adult, if I ask my parent anything, whether it's financial or whether it's anything, if I ask my parent about anything, it's not even, can you give me, just anything. If it's a no, then it's a no. Sometimes I'll get the explanation if that means I'm supposed to be leading at certain times with whatever the topic is. But if I'm not going to ever get to a point where I'm going to have to lead at times, it's just a no. And I'm going to have to rely on the Holy Spirit to give me the explanation. These kids just give way too much explanation and way too many options. When they walk up in these, I remember before we even got to the parking lot, before we got to the park, half the time before we left the house.
Say it. What's that phrase?
First of all, you didn't wait. First of all, we didn't even know we were going anywhere until it was time to walk up out the house. Let's start from there. Okay, you be in the house whether you asleep, in the shower, getting ready to eat. How many times were we getting ready to put something in the microwave? Oh, we heard, let's go, we leaving. Oh, I'm about to eat. Let's go, we're leaving. Where we going? Shut up, get in the car. So you don't even know where you're going. Your parents could have been taking to sell you somewhere. You didn't know nothing. Okay, so now you're on your way there. You better not ask where we going. You might get parking lot. Then before we hit the parking lot, you know, sometimes as a kid, you see you driving up to certain stores. You're like, oh yeah, before we get in the parking lot, you already get the disclaimer. Don't ask for anything. Ask for, especially if my parent went there for a particular reason. So let's just, it's back to school time now. It's back to school shopping. You better not ask for any leisure things at all. If it's not a pencil, if it's not a pen, if it's not a piece of loose leaf paper, she'll get you things that you want, but don't ask for it because her mind is set on what you need. So now you go up in the store, you need to learn how to have a one-track mind, like she has a one-track mind. And this is how kids learn. So like Lady Tamika, you said, I'm not about to teach you how it is with me. But that part, we need to teach them. Learn how to have a one-track mind. This is what you need right now. Focus on what you need right now. But these kids just get way too many options. And they don't understand. Here's something else kids don't learn. The less you ask, the more you get. And that's something that I've learned from even little. You're gonna get it.
Are you in agreement with? Are you in agreement with the less you ask, the more you get, Tamika?
Yeah, I was brought up with that. I really was. And in addition to what Shantice is saying, you bet not. I wish you would go in the store and fall out because you didn't get that thing that you wanted.
Yeah.
I tried that one time, and I'm living proof. I'm surprised that I still have everything that I came with. But, and this is the thing when we don't tell the children, you just let them have whatever it is that they want. And then the one time you said, I said no. You were already told, don't you ask for nothing. Don't even I wish them little teardrops would fall down at that time when I told you no. Woo! Yeah, I do agree that, for in my lifetime, when I asked for less, I did get more. Because when mommy give me, mommy got tired of hearing me. She just wanted me to go away. She sent me into a room, and that's where I stayed.
Okay. Pastor KL, was it, if you don't ask, you'll get more?
No, because what option is not on that list that some of you millennials don't know is they just left us in a car. We'll be back. We'll be back. You know what I mean? Don't get out the car. They leave the window cracked. So we didn't have an opportunity to ask for stuff. Then every now and then we get tired because you in the store too long. So we get out the car. And it's almost like we saw the prodigal son from afar when they got out the store. And we ran it back to the car. No, that was a whole different option. Now, what Shantice is talking about, we all started acting school and we didn't even know because that was the first monologue we learned. When you get there, don't touch nothing. Don't ask for nothing. Listen, I did one of those things where I had a tantrum and I fell out. And my mama beat me so bad, I'm still limping. Y'all think I'm boxing because I'm cool, but I'm still limping.
I saw my other sibling fall out. I ain't never tried it.
You learned.
And I'm older than her. And I'm older than her. And I saw her fall out and I was like, let me not even think that. And I'm 5 years older than her.
Oh my goodness. All right. So they say, wait, what category? Engage them in daily activities from ages 6 through 12. They say we should ask them to think about a goal they'd like to save for. So it's a toy, video game, or whatever. 2, talk about logistics, why it's important for them to plan now and save for that goal. 3, where will they stash their money? 4, what trade-offs will they need to make? And 5, to help them visualize reaching their goal, you could even create a chart to map their progress. Which one are you taking off this list, Tamika?
Honestly, I wouldn't take any of that off the list. And the reason why I say that is we as parents don't always do the due diligence with those children, and you need to catch them early. Even as an adult now, there were things that I did not know until after the passing of my mother. One of the incidents, and there's no shame. I didn't know anything about property taxes. So by the time I figured out what property taxes were, we were already in debt. Thank God I was able to recover. But these are things that you need to start early. Show them how, get a chart. I remember, they don't do them now, but I remember my mother getting me a bank account. And back then you used to have a little book, and everything that you spent, you put it in the little book, or they had like this little machine that you would slide in and it would tell you how much you had and how much you spent. Now we don't have that, but it is so important with every dollar, every dime. If I give you $20, don't just spend the money and then, oh, look for me. No, get the $20. And then what did you do with the $20? Where did it go? Did you spend $20 on that one item, or did you, spend your money? Did you splurge a little bit? What is it that you did with your money? So that you don't say, "Oh, I don't know what I did with my money," because if you start, then you'll continue on that process. So I think everything that has been said, even at 6 to 8, is, some people might think it's too young. I don't, because it's important. Those are some of the things that we didn't learn as a child that we have to figure out as adults.
Okay. Pastor KL, which one would you remove off that list for ages 6 to 12?
I wouldn't remove any of them. I mean, I think they're all really, really good qualities. I wouldn't remove any of them.
Okay.
My problem with us as African Americans, we train our children how to survive and not how to live. And that's kind of scary, because we just surviving from day to day. We don't put nothing away for our next day, so that we can live. There's always going to be a rainy day, and people don't see it that way. One of my biggest problems that I'm having now, I think I told Pastor Steph, I'm thinking about buying another house, and I want to buy this house to use for traveling nurses, because I'm getting old, my body's getting old, and I can't continue to do this retail for so long. So I need my money to work for me. But the funny thing about it is, when I disclose this to my parents or to people who I think would understand, they're like, "Oh, no, you're gonna put yourself in debt." We're so used to just surviving, we don't invest, we don't think about the living, and it's sad that our mentality will first tell you no, will not motivate you to try to do something, because they're scared of you not being able to survive.
Right. Oh, you're in over your head, and they don't realize it takes that sacrifice. It's not going to be this way forever, but I have a plan. And in order for me to get to my goal, I've got to strategize. And like you said, because that was not, their thing, it's very hard for them to conceptualize, just even beginning that process. Shantice, which one of those things would you pull off the list for ages 6 through 12?
I would keep all of that. And as I was listening to it, I was thinking about like a vision board, and that's something I've even been wanting to do for myself. So like one of the things I want to do is get another car. And I'm like, okay, I need to print this car out and have it posted up with the price, post my debt up, almost like oh my gosh, I hated math. But I remember the bar, it would have the bar graph, and it would like show like, okay, the 0 in the middle and then the odd and even on each side. And I would have that there, and it's like, okay, this is how close, this is how far away I am to even get into the middle. The middle is debt free because I can't start saving for this car until I'm debt free. And again, that's something that in this culture is not being taught. It's taught, if you got that, and Pastor Kale says it all the time, just because you have it don't mean you really have it. Okay, so I may have $10,000, but should that $10,000 go to this car or go to paying off my debt? Because now I buy the car, but then now I need new tires, and now I'm borrowing money for tires. It's like stupid stuff like that. That's what we need to be preparing these kids for. And it's like, they need to have the visuals. The visuals help to keep you motivated. It helps to keep you focused. It helps to keep you. So now you say, I have my niece. She got money from her grandmother. We walk out to school, the icy lady there, she wants to spend a whole $5 on the icy. I'm like, ma'am, why do you need? We have ices at the house. Oh, but I have money. Okay, but why don't you save it for when we pass something that's not at the house? You love to drink the Dunkin' Donuts refreshers. Maybe let's go get a refresher. We can't make a refresher at the house now, but we have ices at the house. Like, just teaching, just because you have it in your pocket doesn't mean you have to spend it. So I completely agree. Give them the visuals and keep all that stuff on the list to help start training their mind and disciplining their mind.
All right. They got teens. This is what they say we should do with our teens, ages 13 and above. Help them jot down a list of their expenses. Consider showing them your budget, and use a money management app designed for teens. Which one are we eliminating, Tamika?
I would say none of them. You need to learn them, although nobody's doing checks now, but you need to show them how the finances work. You need to show them how to pay bills, how to pay the mortgage. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to pay the mortgage, but how to do that, how to go grocery shopping. How many people just slam stuff in the bag, in the cart, and then you get to the register and it's like 100 and how much? Those things are important. Knowing how to put things in the refrigerator, how to where to put things in the freezer. If you need to take the meat out of the pack that it's in and put it in Ziploc bags, whatever, how to maintain food. You put stuff in the refrigerator and 2 days later it spoils. All of that is stuff that you need to show your child, and make sure that they understand it so that when they're older, they're not wasting things that could be useful for their future.
Absolutely. Shantice, which ones are we removing from this list for teens ages 13 and above?
I'm not showing the teen my budget. Because see, already you beside yourself. Because again, now you're going to try to match your needs with my needs. Oh, well, you always get this every month. Why can't I get that? No. One of the problems with these teens is they have expenses. Why do you have expenses? Why do you have? I had a teen the other day who was able to come back to me like this whole slew of different things from Dunkin' Donuts because they were able to utilize their parents' points and absent all of that. And they just kept wanting to spend, kept wanting to go to the store, kept wanting to go. Listen, if that's what your parents are doing, then they need to be disciplined. But now, if I'm not all the way disciplined, I could be decent. But now I'm showing you this, and it could be things that I need. But now you're going to put in your head that this is what you need. No. So I think everything outside of the showing you my budget, then everything else sounds good. But even the whole expenses thing, why do you have expenses as a teen? To me, that sounds a little weird.
Okay. Makes sense. Pastor KL, what are we removing off this list?
Yeah, I'm not showing you my budget unless you have a job and you're putting in on it. There's no need for you to know my budget. I mean, unless you got 50 cents on it, you don't need to know what I'm spending. Just know that there's a roof over your head. You got lights on and there's running water. We don't need to sit down with my ledger or how I'm paying this bill. Because when the final notice comes, you don't say, hey, I got $1 on. No. But I'm related to me because you need to learn different stuff. Like, you need to learn that you don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do that. Because you're going to spend more money that way than you ever have. If you have a shopping list and you've just eaten, now, okay, I might not need this pork chop. I might not need this. But if you're starving, oh, man, everything look good in the supermarket. Everything, every meat, every side. You having a barbecue at the house when you're hungry. And that's an expense by itself. Now you got to have 2 dozen eggs because you need 4 eggs today. It's crazy. It's crazy.
All righty. Tamika, which one do you want to tackle? Be strategic with cash gifts, encourage entrepreneurship and earning their own money, offer a small loan, or get your kids into the right savings vehicles?
I'm not giving you a loan. I'm just not going to do it. All the other stuff is fine, but what am I loaning you for? And how old? What age are we dealing with at that point?
It just said it doesn't have any particular age.
Yeah, no.
It has this is, and nothing else was broken down in age groups, but the other one we tackled. So you say no, do not offer a small loan.
I'm not giving you a loan. I mean, what am I? If it's something that makes sense, like okay, fine, you're in college, and I'm giving you resources towards your tuition, something like that, I could understand. I remember my mother giving me money for my student loan. This was money specifically earmarked, and we verbalized this is for your student loan. Those type of things possible, but just to offer you a loan, I'm not doing that because
Okay.
I was just going to say some children are different. We just talked about debt and people paying you back. I understand as my child, you better pay me back. But I don't want to go through all of that. So we solve our problem by not doing that prior to.
Okay. Shantice, be strategic with cash gifts. Encourage entrepreneurship and earning their own money. Get your kids into the right savings vehicles.
I love the whole concept of entrepreneurship, not necessarily the making your own money. A lot of the times they become overly consumed with that thought. I'm making my own money. I'm making my own money. Now there goes the focus. Now you're not focused on school. Now you're not focused on, like me. I couldn't start working until I finished school. I was always, I want my own. Without making money, I wasn't focused on school. Now imagine had I been able to work, and especially learning to work for myself back then, there wouldn't have been any focus. So they're just learning the discipline of being an entrepreneur, meaning learning what your niche is, learning what God is saying you should be doing, and how to now craft that into a career where God spares your life. You can make a living from it, yeah, but now to earn your own money, it becomes too much of a strategy. We as adults don't know how to do that. We still don't know how to necessarily balance that out. So I'm not too much in agreement with that.
All righty. Pastor KL, be strategic with cash gifts or get your kids into the right savings vehicles.
Y'all done took all the good ones, but okay. I'm not giving out any cash gifts, so you ain't got to be strategic. Because listen, the only way, let me just recap. The only way I'm going to give you a cash gift or a loan is if you're getting out of my house. And if you're getting out of my house, the contingent is you don't come back. Once I give this to you, you don't come back. And as Negroes, when you start talking about entrepreneur at a young age, you become a pharmaceutical agent. So we ain't talking about that either. You know what I mean? So there's different things for us as Black and brown folks that we just can't have conversations on. Like Shanti said, once you get that itch and that money in your pocket, school is, well, no, I can go to college next year. You know what I mean? And next year never gets here. And you are Wendy's on fries making money. When you can go to college and make more money. But we don't see it that way as long as the money's in our pocket now.
Right. Absolutely. Wow. The Due Time crew does it again. Thank you so much for your contribution into today's conversation. And we pray you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Too.
Thank you. Here's what I love about the Bible. It addresses everything that we will go through in life. There are several biblical verses that challenge your spending, your planning, your budgeting. One of the verses that says, "Who plans to build a house without counting the cost?" I can't tell you how many adults, this is their daily habit. They cannot afford anything. They stay broke. They have no money. And I'm saying to myself, I don't get it. You have a job and you have no money. Something in your life ain't right. I understand that the economy has shifted greatly and you may not, have a whole lot afterwards. But I guarantee you that if you check that budget, you will definitely see something that you can let go. Now, you may not be able to let go at all, but you can chip away at it until it's gone. And once it's gone, it stays gone. Does everybody need a car? A car is a severe necessity for some. You know, for those of us who live in the city, some of us have just gotten simply lazy. And I just can't imagine myself being on the public transportation. But yet you ain't got no money because you holding down a car note and a heavy insurance. Is that what God wants for you? Again, it may be seen as a necessity. So I go back to this point that says, ask the 3 through 5-year-olds if it's a want or a need. I'm sorry, you got adults who can't answer that. So a 3 through 5-year-old can never conceptually understand what a need and a want is, because everything is you want. You don't know I need these pair of shoes versus I want this candy bar. Well, adults can't figure that out. You know, another verse, you know, make a plan and write it down and make it plain. You know, write it out. Visually, you know, making something available to you, not just in your memory bank, no matter how great your memory is, but writing things down is essential. If you write it down beforehand, then you'll be able to sit down and say, okay, I only make 600, but with all my wants and needs, you know, hey, I'm at $1,600. I have seen people well out of their league. For why are we here? And again, we can't figure out why we can't serve God properly. When it comes to tithes and offering, I got to pay the rent. We can't afford, quote unquote, to give God first. Oh, that's a big concern. Well, if I give God, you know, when people say to me, you're supposed to pay tithes and offering, you know, you're supposed to give tithes and offering before you pay your bills. We've gone through this already. Yes, God gets the first. All that other stuff that you've accumulated, so God is supposed to be sure that He don't need your money. He got it all for us. But there's a plan here. There's something that God is due. But we can't follow it because we're so saturated in bad spending habits. We're so saturated in bad budgeting. We're so saturated in, who said it on here, wanting to look big shanties, wanting to look great for our broke friends, wanting to step up and live like the Joneses. I can't tell you how many people that I've spoken to, she had to have the house, she had to have the car, she had to have the kids, and now he's working 24 hours a day and she mad. Why? You insisted. He, like a dummy, didn't stand up and help you understand, I'm not killing myself. Because see, with the house and the kids and the car and activities, you can't work, or you can only work to a certain extent. I'm not killing myself to accommodate these wants, no needs, but wants. So the Bible talks to us about how we are to handle our money, how we are to handle our finances. And what do we do with that biblical information? Those biblical facts, those biblical challenges. Because it doesn't come out and say X, Y, and Z. It asks you, who plans to build a house without counting the cost? That's a real simple question and a real easy answer. Someone who is very unwise. So for this to be an issue of, let's start early. Absolutely. We want to start early so that our children understand exactly what it is to have the responsibility of money. That's a responsibility and it's a blessing, but you can turn that blessing into a curse. How many of us were taught that? So let's, again, we have all week long, we've been talking about getting our children underneath the banner of heaven, underneath the banner of God, underneath the banner of Jesus and the Holy Spirit. Because once you follow that GPS in life, you cannot go wrong. It is not that we will be perfect, but let's teach our children about God. And therefore, when we go to teach them all these other little tools, it'll be that much easier for them to understand, because then it will be coupled with God. That's God's plan for our life. You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. As you go through your day, be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew for always coming through big time. Thank you for hanging out with us and helping us keep that chat room alive. Please do not miss this opportunity right now to just take Jesus as your personal Savior. Give your children God. Please do not miss this opportunity to strengthen that relationship with the Lord right now, because later is not promised to any of us. Until tomorrow, God spares, where it's Freestyle Friday and we get to do whatever it is we want to do. Well, talk to the men is what we do. Until then, God spares. I love you.